Welcome to the Taste Test channel, and this week we'll be taking an impartial look at popular chocolate spread from around the world to discover what the differences are and how some of the best-selling varieties around the globe differ in taste. As always, just for fun, we'll be awarding our Taste Test channel Best in Class award to the winner. If you're new to the channel, just hit the subscribe button to ensure you don't miss out on any of our regular taste tests. So a quick overview about chocolate nut spread, and I didn't expect to find anything remarkable in its history, but in fact two different people bent on world domination were indirectly responsible for its popularity. In the early 1800s, when Napoleon was in a bid to take over Europe, he imposed trade restrictions, which caused Turin in Italy to become rather short on cocoa. Being the global chocolate capital and also part of Piedmont, they started mixing in their famous hazelnuts to eke out supplies, a first for the time and the forerunner of the chopped nut paste gianduja. Then, over a century later, Hitler's actions in World War II led to rationing in Europe, and with chocolate being scarce again, Italian pastry maker Pietro Ferrero turned to the hazelnut once more with his sliceable loaf pasta gianduja. 3 years later he made it spreadable, and it was his son who went on to create the legendary Nutella. Today this indulgent nutty treat is eaten globally, with dozens of brands producing their take on it. Naturally, we can't include them all, but our lineup of popular chocolate nut spreads from around the world this week is as follows. International best-selling favourite, Nutella. Next, two options with no added sugar, Nordic brand Good Good from Iceland and Jim Jams from the UK. From the USA, the all-American Peanut Butter & Co. From Italy, Panda Stella. And finally, from France, the globally popular Bonne Maman. Price-wise, suffice to say, it's not cheap stuff, particularly if you get through it like kids tend to. The amount in each jar varies quite a bit, so you can see the price that I paid per 100 grams is shown below, although the cost to get hold of them may of course differ depending on where you're based. As you can see, Peanut Butter & Co from the US and Panda Stella from Italy were the most expensive, import costs no doubt playing a part, and Jim Jams from the UK was the cheapest, followed by Bonne Maman. Nutritional wise, this is not the healthiest of snacks, but there is a fair bit of variation. So here are the 4 key groups we always stick to on the Taste Test channel, which are energy, fat, sugar and salt. The chart below lists the brands from top to bottom in energy content per 100 grams. As you can see, Bonne Maman has the most energy and Good Good and Jim Jams have joint least, although surprisingly not as low as you might expect, given they have no added sugar, and we'll find out why a bit later. Fat content shows Good Good from Iceland and British Jim Jams have the most fat, with US Peanut Butter & Co having the least. By the way, other than Bonne Maman and Panda Stella, unfortunately all of these contain palm oil, reputedly sustainably sourced, but that's a contested notion in itself. Moving on, sugar varies massively, with Nutella having the most and Jim Jams and Good Good having the least by far, both having naturally occurring sugars plus sweeteners. Finally, salt content's reassuringly low on all of these, but Jim Jams has the most and Bonne Maman the least. But how will all this affect the taste? Well, that's why we're here. So we're going to start, quite rightly, with the original itself, Nutella, which news to me is how you pronounce it, says the company website. Here in the UK, I've always known it as Nutella. As mentioned, this was the creation of Italian Michele Ferrero, tweaking his dad's recipe to launch the brand in the 60s. 4 decades later, he became Italy's richest man off the back of it. Still owned by the Ferrero family of Ferrero Rocher, Kinder and Tic Tac, they buy a phenomenal 25% of the world's hazelnuts every year. It's safe to say people all over the world love this stuff. Sold in 160 countries, thieves once stole a $20,000 truckload of it in Germany, there's a World Nutella Day, and a couple in France even tried to name their baby after it. Hazelnut content on this one is 13%, with just over 7% cocoa. So what we're going to do is open all the jars first so we can compare them visually side by side, and then we'll move on to the tasting. So we'll open up the jar. And let's serve some out. Okay, so it's very smooth and whipped looking. The aroma is like the vapours of a bar of hazelnut chocolate, but more candy-ish, sweet, rich and nutty. And I'll look forward to tasting it after we've opened the others. Next, Nordic brand Good Good. Although made in Belgium, the company was founded by three Icelandic friends in 2015 to address today's diet and lifestyle issues. Having relatives with diabetes, Good was designed to satisfy sweet cravings using alternative natural, as opposed to artificial, sweeteners, with a range of no-sugar jams, spread and nutrition bars. They now have bases in both Europe and America and are found in over 2,000 stores. Like Nutella, this contains 13% hazelnuts and 7% cocoa, with sweeteners maltitol and stevia. So we'll take a look inside. So a very different look to this one, much thicker and more fudgy, and the aroma is far weaker. Some sweetness, vaguely nutty, a bit more cocoa, but overall dialed right down and much more subtle. Next, from the UK, Jim Jams. The company was started in 2013 by parents from Kent who were apparently shocked by the amount of sugar in chocolate spreads, as they put it, up to 57 cubes worth in a jar. Seeing a gap in the market for no added sugar jams and spreads, like Good, they turned to natural sweeteners, in this case maltitol. Maltitol, by the way, is not a miracle sweetener, it's a sugar alcohol. Just like sugar, it's plant-based, has carbohydrates and calories, and affects blood glucose, but less so than sugar, while also being possibly kinder to teeth. Jim Jams are now in most UK stores and expanding globally. Nut content is 13%, cocoa quantity isn't stated. So we'll open up the pot. Okay, so an even heavier texture, but really similar looking to Good with that thick fudge icing quality which cracks on the surface. The aroma though is very like Nutella, sweet, nutty and cocoa-y, but not quite as strong or punchy. But how will it taste? We'll find out shortly. Next, from America, Peanut Butter & Co. The company started in New York in 1998 with a shop serving nothing but gourmet peanut butter sandwiches with honey, bacon, popcorn, you name it. 10 years later, they were serving 100,000 people a year. Now retail only, their spreads and snacks are found in stores across the US and online. Notably, while containing sugar, it has 25% less than leading brands. Nut and cocoa percentages aren't stated. However, hazelnuts are listed as the second highest ingredient, which means that, unlike the last three jars, it has more nuts than oil. So we'll take a look inside. Okay, so very distinct again, much darker and thick with some grittiness evident. The aroma's also completely different. It smells very nutty, but oddly enough, more like peanut butter, and I'm not being influenced by the name. I can't overly smell the cocoa or sugar, but I'm really curious to taste this one. Next, from Italy, Panda Stella, meaning Pan of the Stars, which has been a much-loved Italian bakery brand since the 80s, making cakes, cookies, cereal, and of course this spread, which actually contains tiny pieces of cocoa cookie in it. Owned by Italian parent brand Barilla, who featured in our pasta sauce test, it follows their ethos of sustainability and, critically, no palm oil in any of their products. It's got 13% hazelnuts, just under 10% cocoa, and 2% biscuit pieces. So we'll open up the jar. And let's serve some out. So a lighter whipped texture with tiny pieces of cookie visible. The aroma's very punchy, the strongest so far. It smells like when you're eating a quality chocolate praline or opening a box of them. Very chocolatey, very nice. Finally, from France, but sold worldwide, Bonne Maman. Although it's ironic this is our French contender, as France actually consume a whopping quarter of all the world's Nutella. Bonne Maman was formed in the early 70s by a family-owned French food producer, making products with a homemade feel and using simple ingredients without additives or preservatives. It's also the only other one of the group that does not contain palm oil. This one contains an impressive 20% hazelnuts, the highest of the group, and 5.5% cocoa. So we'll take a look inside. Okay, so very smooth and fluid, much runnier than the others, like a thick runny honey. The aroma's not as intense as the last one, but it has the strongest hazelnut so far. More subtle on the cocoa notes, but very nutty. And we'll see how it tastes in just a moment. So looking at them side by side, you can see all the variations more clearly. Peanut Butter & Co. from the US is the darkest, closely followed by Italian Panda Stella, and Bonne Maman from France is the palest. It's also the most liquid, and like Nutella, very smooth and homogenised. UK Jim Jams and Nordic Good Good are the thickest and fudgiest, with the others somewhere in between. Peanut Butter & Co. having a slight grainy appearance, and Panda Stella having small cookie pieces in the texture. And with all that in mind, I'm really curious to discover just how much they vary in taste. Now, I'm not a big chocolate spread eater, but it seems to me it would go pretty well on pancakes. So let's rustle some up. And now that we have our pancakes, let's move on to the tasting. So we'll start with the global favourite, Nutella. So a light whipped texture, very smooth while also sticky. The flavour is exactly like the inside of a Ferrero Rocher, very praline, hazelnutty, not so strong on the cocoa. It's very sweet, not offensively so, but more than I would choose, with a long sweet aftertaste. In summary though, this is perfectly good, not artificial at all, and a strong nut punch. Next we'll try Good Good from Iceland. So there's initial waxiness in the fudgy texture, but it melts away quickly. It's far less nutty than Nutella, instead having more cocoa notes. It's also much less sweet, and what's really good is they haven't overdone the sweeteners, which is what so many low sugar brands tend to do. You can't taste the stevia, and the aftertaste is soft and clean. In short, it's like a melted chocolate fudge sauce with a hint of hazelnut, subtle but nicely done, and it makes Nutella seem very sweet in comparison. Next we'll try Jim Jams from the UK. So a thick fudgy texture like the last one, which does dissolve but not as quickly. It's nuttier though, not as much as Nutella, but more so than Good Good, and medium sweet. Again, top marks for not overdoing it. It's cocoa-y with a sweet aftertaste. Overall, perfectly pleasant. The best way of describing this is it's a medium option between the last two in nuttiness, sweetness and cocoa. Next we'll try the American Peanut Butter & Co. So this is unexpected. It smells, feels and tastes like peanut butter. Don't get me wrong, it tastes like chocolate spread too, but it's got that unique cling to the roof of your mouth quality, the granular texture and the slightly bitter nut top notes, all of which are exactly like smooth peanut butter. I'm amazed there's not peanuts in there. There's also though a high quality dark chocolate hit and strong hazelnut punch, and while still being sweet, it's much less so, with a long chocolate aftertaste. To sum up, this is the most distinct and strongest so far, but it works well. It would really lift a croissant or bagel and would go amazingly well in brownies. Next we'll try Panda Stella from Italy. So this has a lighter creaminess to it, less fudgy, and the tiny biscuit pieces add a very nice crunchy dimension. The flavour's more chocolate than nuts, like dark chocolate as opposed to cocoa, not as strong as the US, but much more than the others. It's very sweet, second only to Nutella, and the nuts are more subtle, just coming through in the aftertaste. Overall, it's a very good quality chocolate spread with just a hint of nuts and cookie crunch. It would pair really well with ice cream. Finally, we'll try Bonne Maman from France. Okay, so this is exceptionally light, smooth and runny, so beware of drips. The flavour is of hazelnut cream and much more of a nut punch than chocolate, but with the smooth creaminess having the overall impact. It tastes like you've whipped fresh double cream into Nutella. It's medium sweet with subtle chocolate and full flavoured hazelnut having the aftertaste. In summary, high quality and one for nut lovers, uniquely smooth and silky. I think it would work really well drizzled on crepes. So that covers how they all differ in taste, and now that we've tasted them all, as always, just for fun, we award our Taste Test Channel winners and Best in Class award. Now, I mentioned on the ketchup video that it was one of the hardest to judge, but this one feels possibly even more difficult. There are no duds in this one. They're all good quality spreads with different things going for each, and which one is best really comes down to what you personally want from a chocolate spread. If you want to reduce sugar intake, for example, then Good Good or Jim Jams are both great tasting options. But before handing a pot and spoon to the nearest toddler, do remember they have almost as many calories. If you want to avoid palm oil, then definitely go for Bonne Maman or Panda Stella, both being palm oil free and tasting excellent. As for taste alone, there is literally so many factors to consider, I felt it best to show you in a graph, each brand being ranked as high, medium or low for nuts, chocolate and sweetness. So I hope that helps you choose your favourite, but our top 3 winners this week based on taste alone rather than ethics or nutrition are as follows. Winning 3rd place, Panda Stella from Italy. High quality chocolate punch with subtle nuts, light whipped texture and unique cookie crunch. It calls you back to the jar. Winning 2nd place, Bonne Maman from France. Soft, creamy and impressively hazelnutty, it oozes quality and oozes out of anything you might want to put it in, by the way. But in 1st place this week in the popular chocolate spreads from around the world, the Taste Test Channel Best in Class award goes to Peanut Butter & Co. from the US. With strong nut impact in both texture and flavour, top quality dark chocolate punch and subtle sweetness, allowing the flavours to shine through. As I said, I'm not a big chocolate spread eater, but I've found this works so well on croissants with fresh coffee in the morning, I may just be converted. So well done to Peanut Butter & Co. And as always, taste is subjective and this is purely my point of view, but I hope it's provided some useful insights. So I've certainly enjoyed making this episode. I really hope you've enjoyed watching it, and a massive thank you to all of you out there who help our channel grow with likes, comments and sharing our videos with fellow food fans, as well as our wonderful handful of Patreon supporters. And on that note, I'm very excited to say and can't quite believe we have our first ever connoisseur level patron. So a big shout out and huge thank you to Henry Schreiber and the Schreiber clan, to whom I'm incredibly grateful. It is such a privilege to be supported in this way and a real endorsement of all our efforts. So what can I say but truly thank you. And for those who haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to ensure you don't miss out on any of our regular taste tests. But meanwhile, thanks for watching and spread the word.